YouTube, what is happening? We are looking at a manly knife today. This is the Peak in 12C27N steel, also available in D2 and S90V, and these are actually a really kind of taking the knife industry by storm a little bit. I think this company, Manly, they're made in Bulgaria, but they come ground incredibly thin. You can even just see it by looking at this knife. But look how teeny that bevel is. That's one indication that this sucker is super thin behind the edge. Let's see, just curious, because they usually advertise them about 10 thousandths, but what I've found in the two that I've held is that they actually come even thinner behind the edge. Yeah, 6 thousandths. 6 thousandths behind the edge, guys. That's insane. That is like laser beam cutting machine. 6 thousandths on this guy. Insane. Like, it's crazy. The Wasp I have, which is the slip joint, this one's S90V, I think is a little thicker behind the edge than that one. No, that can't be right. I'm getting an insane measurement on this one. I gotta check it off camera so I can. Okay, that's better. This one's about, okay, this one's a little thinner. This one's about 5 thousandths. I was getting like 3, which is insane. That would be like. So they're ground thinner than they actually say they are. But they pretty much give a baseline of, hey, you know, these are 10 thousandths behind the edge or thinner, which is insane. Like, for a production company to grind a knife that thin, you typically can't get a grind that thin unless you're buying a custom knife, because it's a lot of grinding involved in getting a knife that thin behind the edge. Your Spyderco Paramilitary 2 is about 20 thousandths behind the edge, to give you kind of an example, which a lot of people consider the Para 2 to be this excellent slicer, right? And hey, it is a good knife, but these things will absolutely destroy it as far as slicing is concerned. That's all about the edge geometry. So thinness behind the edge does matter in a lot of ways. It's also easier to sharpen. This S90V can be a bear to sharpen, but this S90V here, and I haven't sharpened it, haven't needed to, but I guarantee you it will be a lot easier to sharpen than like a Spyderco S90V, simply because of the thinness behind the edge, less steel to remove. So, but these knives are really good. So they come in different G10 colors, black, just plain black. They have orange. I want to say maybe green. Oh, they had some camo ones at one point. This black and red I really like. I think it's good looking. So the Peak is the big brother to the Wasp. Wasp is a slip joint, and it has an insanely stiff action. It has actually 4 points. So it's really difficult to open with one hand, even with that thumb stud. So I like the Peak because it's got the thumb opening hole, which is shaped more like an oval. You know, unlike a Spyderco. Obviously they're trying not to. You can see though that like the fit and finish on these knives is at least a little bit of desired. You can see that skin that it's just taken off my thumb. That's because that's sharp right there. So they need to chamfer that a lot better actually. But what you give up in a little bit of fit and finish, which isn't, you know, a big deal, because everything else is nice. The lockup is solid. The lock back, it's got a smooth action. It's easy to open one-handed, and it's got a really comfortable handle. G10's well done. Nice deep carry pocket clip. But this knife is all about performance, man. These knives are built to cut things, and that's what knives do, right? They're tools that cut. And you're not going to go prying things with these things, that's for sure. But if you want a high-performance cutting tool, you know, you can't, I mean, you can hardly do better than a Manly before buying custom. I mean, it's crazy. That thin behind the edge, that's insane, right? So let's do some cut tests with this guy and see how well it cuts. I have no doubt in my mind it's just going to slice through everything it comes across, but let's do some of that and we'll come and wrap up the video. Alright, let's see how well this Manly Wasp can slice through some cardboard. Oh yeah. know, this knife actually does not have the best edge on it either, as far as sharpness. This is the pass-around knife. Yeah, I won't even like shave hair, but it's still cutting this cardboard that well. Just like butter. Like butter. Hopefully the camera picks this up. I'm going to try to... This is a pretty thick box. Cut all the way through that fold, halfway through that box. Look at that. So, as an example, this Shaman is over 20,000. It's probably 25,000 behind the edge. It's probably going to struggle. Yeah, way more force required. You can get through it, way more force required. And this knife is way sharper. It has a nice 15-degree mirror edge on it. So, there's just an example of how good thinness behind the edge is. This knife's not very sharp. If I sharpen this sucker as sharp as I've got that Shaman, man, look at that. Just easy. See how it does on some rope cuts here. Not quite. These are all about the angle, I found. Yep, there we go. Sliced right through. Once you get that right angle on the rope, you can't do a straight cut on this half-inch thick stuff. You gotta really angle your blade up like that. Yeah, it almost went all the way through. One thing I'm noticing in the handle, and I'm doing these different types of cuts just to test how comfortable the handle is. And all these different grips. That part of the wood's pretty barren. Let's do this part. It really bites in that wood, that thin grind. But there's no hot spots. I mean, I could do this for hours with that grip and the hammer grip. All that force you get behind that cut. No big deal at all. Yeah, definitely a high-performing cutting tool. Maybe we'll get some fruit or something. Except the edge is not even shaving arm hair. So it needs to be sharpened, in my opinion, or stropped at least. And it is still cutting through things like nothing. If it was actually sharp, through some of these stickers and stuff, it would be amazing. Alright guys, so we're back inside with the Manly Peak. One thing I didn't do earlier is give you some size comparisons. It's a pretty big knife. That's the Spyderco Shaman. That's actually a little bit bigger in length. It's a Medford Slim Midi. And how about a Hinder XM18, 3.5 inch. So bigger than both those knives. Pretty good sized knife. I would love to see Manly come out with a mid-sized folder somewhere between the Wasp and the Peak. I think I called this the Wasp a few times in the cutting test, so my apologies on that. But I would like to see something mid-size. Like this is like the size of a Spyderco Endura, which honestly this knife just I would recommend the Manly over the Endura any day of the week. Any day of the week. But that's more of a comparison. I'd like to see something mid-size, maybe like a Delica size knife from Manly with the opening hole. Their backlock is nicely done. It's pretty smooth. You can close it one-handed pretty easily. Yeah, not a lot of force involved there. Nice smooth action on it. The ergonomics on the handle proved to be really good in all different grips and all the different things I cut with this. So yeah, I can't. I think these are back in stock too. So the thing about Manly is they don't produce knives in large amounts. I want to say last I checked they did have these in stock at the moment of recording this video, which is what's today's date? June 9th, 2018. And I think they have these in stock. They go out of stock and then they don't. Yeah, so it looks like this exact knife actually, in D2 steel, is available for $65. So I think the S90V, that's fine, the specific one, sorry. Peak lock back. Yeah, D2 is $65. The S90 is $115. They have a new version with black G10 and toxic green for $117 for the S90V, which is cool. They have an all red S90V for $116. Yeah, so I don't think they have the 12C28Ns in, but they have the D2 and the S90s. And for $115 for the S90V version of this knife, man, you have a high performance cutting tool. I mean, really, really good knife for the money. For $66, if you want D2, man, still can't go wrong, because they're so thin behind the edge. I mean, this knife is not sharp. It came to me last person on the pass around, and I can't even shave arm hair with it. It's just like not sharp, right? I tried to strop it. It can cut paper decently. I think I've got some. You can see it gets caught, but it still cuts paper. So it's got a decent working edge right now, and it still outperformed all the other knives in this cardboard that I was cutting, like the Shaman, even the Medford, which is really sharp actually, and that's a thinly ground knife too, the Medford. But this sucker, it just outperformed them because it's so thin behind the edge. So even not being that sharp, it still cut better. And if it had a good edge on it, this thing would have been night and day. I forgot. I just realized I didn't cut any fruit with it. Sorry, but it's so thin behind the edge, it would make a great, food prep knife. You could easily slice vegetables and things with this because it's got such a thin edge and it's got decently thin blade stock. It's, what is it? Just over an inch thick on the blade. So yeah, I think I might. This one's actually for the pass around, and we're actually giving this knife away as part of the pass around. Manly USA wanted us to give this away at the end, so I'm going to give this knife away. So all you got to do is comment down below that you want in, and you can have a chance to win this knife. And if you want me to sharpen it for you, I'm going to leave that up to the winner. If the winners wants to sharpen it themselves, like I said, it'll cut paper now, but again, this is the last knife of the pass around. I did put it through a little testing, and if the winner wants me to put in a wicked edge on it, I will do that. No problem. Free of charge. I'll do a nice mirror polish edge on this guy and make it really, really screaming sharp. If you want to do it yourself, that's fine too. Just let me know when you win. So, again, we're giving this knife away for the pass around group, the Apex pass around group. Thank you, Manly USA, for providing it. You have a fantastic knife on your hands, guys. High performing knife. Just super comfortable. I'm picking one up myself, an S90V, I think. I really want to test out the edge retention of their S90V, and I may see how the heat treat is on it and such. So we know the geometry is great on it. Alright guys, thanks for watching my review of the Manly Peak, and we'll see you next time. Quick guys, I forgot to click the next page. They do have this available in all kinds of different colors. They have camo, orange, D2, black. So they've got all the colors, it looks like, in stock. And they do have the 12C27N. Now, you're paying basically the same price for that as you would RD2, so you gotta make your decision there. But this exact knife they do have in stock for $65. So I should have just clicked forward on the page a little bit. Sorry about that.